So I don't know your story that well. I know Matt's pretty well. I know yours enough, I guess. So I'm going to start with you. This question's, what role has failure played in your success, and what have you learned from your failures?
Love this question. Yeah, I often refer to my failures as my greatest professor, right? In life. I'm so thankful. I got to build this business with my mom and dad 17 years ago. And they created this opportunity kind of for me to learn and try and risk and in a safe environment. And so, I didn't go to college. I didn't learn business any other way than through hands-on and trying and failing a lot.
Yeah, I think most of us failed quite a bit. I was talking earlier about failed opportunities or failed businesses. I have quite a few. Like you're talking about baseball, you fail, if you win 30%, bat 300, you're in the Hall of Fame. That's it, Exactly. That means you failed 70% of the time.
Yeah. I think it's so, you have to get comfortable with failure if you're going to be a business owner, right? Like it's just going to happen. It's inevitable. And I think if you can have failure inform your future, you're never looking at it as like, man, I suck at life or anything like that, but as like, what can I learn from this mishap or this misfortune or this bad decision that I made? I mean, I'm staring at several bad decisions that I've made, and I'm still cleaning up right now. And so I can either let that get me down, or I can go, hey, this is going to be fuel for much wiser decision making in our futures.
My favorite athlete growing up was Michael Jordan, and he's got this quote that says, "I've missed over 9,000 shots, lost over 300 games, 27 times I've been trusted to take the last shot, and yet that is why I succeed." So it's constantly just failure after failure. Like so many times you just learn. You got to learn from those mistakes, but not give up and just keep moving forward. So I keep that quote in my head all the time and just constantly try and just learn from that. So
we're not looking at it so much as failure, but opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity,
missed opportunity or not. It's still opportunity.
100%.
It's like, I like what you said when we were chatting earlier. You talked about how you give yourself a little 24-hour
pity party. Yeah.
Pity party. Tell me about that.
24 hours to be angry, cry, get it all out, do whatever you got to do if something comes up. Because I think it's important to feel those emotions and then process it. So you get 24 hours. And then after that, it's time to get to work. So 24 hours.
Develop a new plan, rubber meets the road, go.
Yeah. Pivot, do whatever you got to do. What's my network look like? What type of people could I reach out to? Just whatever it is.
Well, if I want to take an action, you got to take that failure and just go back to work.
Yeah.
So the true grit of a business owner, entrepreneur, a successful one is have that failure and get back off your ass and get back to work.
I tell my employees all the time, like, I get over things very, very quickly. I'm not going to hold that against you, because what does that do?
Yeah.
It creates animosity or whatever. Like, okay, you didn't show for a shift, whatever. I'm pissed off at you for the moment, but I'm over it. Like, let's move on. Let's move forward. I think it's important though to feel that, get it out of your system, but move forward.
Yeah.
What good is it to dwell on something and hold that inside of you?
So, what inspired you to start your business, and how did you identify the opportunity to start?
I mean, I love this environment that we're in because I just get to speak raw and whatever. I have 12 years clean from heroin.
Yeah.
And so when I got clean and sober, I met my wife at church, and she was like, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I used to do insurance before I got into my mess." And so got licensed and started working with State Farm and opened up my own agency down in Lacey. And during that time, when my wife and I got married, we were out to dinner at a Mexican restaurant, and I ordered pizza, and she just kind of slapped her menu down and was like, "Do you realize you order pizza everywhere we go?" And I had that epiphany moment where I was like, oh my God, I really do love pizza. And I just kind of casually said, wouldn't it be funny if I opened up a business and called it Fat Zach's Pizza? And we joked about it, but I just could not get it out of my head. Got fixated on this idea of just pizza. So literally on YouTube, went to Home Depot, built a wood fire pizza oven on my back porch, started messing around with dough and sauce and just having fun, pizza parties. And first time I made dough, put it in the fridge, added too much sugar. Sugar's an accelerant for the yeast. Woke up the next morning, there's dough just covered all over my fridge. But I just didn't really love what I was doing. it was a great career, and I'm constantly thinking about pizza. So I just came to my wife one day and took a leap of faith and said, I want to do Fat Zach's Pizza. And she could see the look on my face, and she goes, yeah. And I go, are you serious? And she's like, let's do it. I said, okay, next Saturday is the Pizza Expo in Vegas. I could take the 6 a.m. flight, walk the show, take the 10 p.m. back. She goes, do it. So I walked the show. I mean, I'm just in heaven. It's all thing pizza in Las Vegas. And while I was there, there was a big giant glass jar that said, win a trip to Woodfire Pizza School in Colorado. And thought, what the heck, I'll put my name in. And so came home, and a couple of days later, I did a phone call and you won. So I'm like off to Colorado the next week and learning about how to run a mobile unit and tons of great information. Just certain things to do that I didn't even think about. So it was like a 4-day crash course on how to run a mobile unit. And during that time, I talked to a guy named Sean who owns a lot across from Anthem. And it just worked out perfectly. So we started day one, Meeker Days in 2018. And then I think we did 700 pizzas that weekend. So it was fun. Lots of learning curve. I had no idea. I worked growing up at like Red Robin, PF Chang's, and a little bit with Daniels. So I knew like the front of end, like hospitality, but had no idea with like food costs, who to order from. Like I was raw. I just knew that I loved pizza. I knew how to make it. And that was it. So I had my little brother at the time help me with some of that stuff. He was in the food hospitality business. And yeah, so a year and a half, about a year, I think we were on the corner of Anthem, maybe a little bit longer. And then we opened up our first location in Sumner in March of 2020, 1 week before the pandemic.
Sheesh.
And fast forward, we just had our 6-year anniversary. We got 3 locations, 3 food trucks.
Yeah. So I feel like you started that corner. I don't feel there was nothing there before you, right?
There was, the hope and the dream is Generous Corner. Sean Manley had this vision to have a beer tap room in the middle with all these different things on it. So yeah, I guess you could say we kind of started that corner. I was in.
It's always nice to hear the backstory when someone starts, because like not everybody knows like what drives you, and that can really like you can change your audience or who your customers are too by knowing actually a little bit more about who you are as a person. Like, and I didn't realize this till a couple weeks ago. Till I hired a business development manager or personal assistant, someone who do networking and stuff. And I told my story to someone. She's like, "What? That's how you started?" I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "I thought you knew." She's like, "I thought everybody knew." No.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you got to remind yourself that this is a learning experience. And for me, my faith, like, God, you're teaching me something, and I don't know what it is at the moment, but I'm going to learn from that. So
that's absolutely
try it. Yeah.
Young adults, Matthew, wanted everything my parents had, but didn't want to work hard for it. I started my first business, peddling illegal substances, we'll call it, before I joined the military. And it came down to brass tacks. At the end of the day, it was one of those typical, you're going to the Army or you're getting locked up or you're not going to have anything to do with this family. And I really wanted to have something to do with my father's computer company more than anything. And I joined the Army to make my dad proud and show him that I wasn't a disappointment. Part of the tension before I joined the Army is I was selling things I should have been selling to afford the lifestyle I wanted to have and have nice things. And I let all of my stuff go back to the bank, double repossession, lost everything I had, lost my house, joined the Army, had to get wavered in because my credit was so terrible. And my packet of misdemeanors and legal interactions was thick enough to warrant some special need to get into the military, but they let me in. Really discovered my passion for cars there and started racing, doing a lot of drag racing professionally, driven a lot of fast cars, and in the Army for spare money. I wanted to stay on the straight and narrow to prove to my father that I could. I started building and tuning cars in the barracks parking lot when I lived in the barracks, and renting dynos in the area. And then when I got out of the Army, a couple of shops here locally in Washington asked me to stay. And I stayed and I started tuning for them. Was very good at it. Very good at many things. Very good at dealing with their customers and generating business. And I had a very good reputation. Unfortunately, the shops that I were working for, they did not, but they were promising me many, many things, and taking advantage of everything that I had to offer, and definitely under-delivering. I was promised ownership in 3 different companies before I ended up starting Kaiser Motorsports. I started to worry that I was never going to be able to have anything to do with this last shop that I worked for. So I started the t-shirt company. Myself, Ryan Nelson, Jackie Nelson, we started this t-shirt company. They helped me out a lot. I never knew how big of an impact I had on the racing community until I started selling t-shirts. And then once my t-shirts made it all the way around the globe, it was time to build a shop. And I bought all my own equipment, and I gave this guy that I was working for one last chance. I told him, I said, hey, in 6 months, I will no longer be an employee of this establishment. I will either be on as an owner or buying the shop from you, or I will have my own shop. Mark my words, that 6-month anniversary, I put in my 2 weeks. He had made no plans for a plan of succession, no plans to bring me in as we had discussed. This is after I had provided proof of funds and offered a healthy down payment so he could retire. And I just got tired of waiting. And it's been the best thing that I've ever done. And I wanted to prove to my dad that I could do it. And my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 squamous cancer 8 months before I started my company full-time. I was able to spin it up, and I released a t-shirt, a tribute t-shirt to him. The doctors told us we only had a couple of years with him. Well, we ended up 8 months with him. But I opened my company full-time 6 months into his cancer treatment. So he got to see everything that I had ever wanted come to fruition 2 months before he passed. And that was all I ever wanted to do, was make my dad proud. Busting my ass every day, just like you guys are, and it's a struggle. I'm very new to this, and every day is a lesson. We're put here on this earth to do great things, and to squander that and not take advantage of the opportunities that are put in front of us is a damn shame. So that was the last thing that I wanted to do, was not carry on my father's legacy. My dad's computer company was very successful, and all the businesses my parents owned together, very successful. And once I finally decided I didn't want anything to do with the computer company, I wanted to really just immerse myself into the automobile world. Everything started to make sense and come together. I've got a wonderful girlfriend and a wonderful support group. Very thankful for you and that extra push. But slinging those t-shirts and those hats and those stickers and generating revenue and income just off of that alone was more than enough to prove to me that I had what it took to make anything become a reality, and that the support system that I had been building for all these years was going to be there to take care of me.
Wow.
And they've come through for me every single freaking day. My business has 0 debt. Everything I own is paid for. I feel like every big decision is just a leap of faith. And as long as you hold on tight and you believe in yourself, and, but you just got to believe in something yourself.
Yeah.
That the sky, whatever it is, just believe. And that belief will take you where you need to go. And grit, hard freaking work.
Yeah. I use that phrase a lot. Like, trying to teach men how to be men again, not like grit. Cause starting to become a society of wimps, and everybody gets handed everything. Everything's so easy. No, it takes hard work. As hard as a kid, as a parent, it's hard for you to say, no, you need to do this, knowing that you can pay for it, knowing I can buy my kid that $300 bat, but no, I'm not going to buy a $300 bat. You're
100%.
You're getting the bat from the dollar store. We're going to go to the Play Against Sports or something,
Yeah.
It's hard because you want to give everything, especially when, I grew up with in a poor house, where, my parents did what they could. We had a great childhood, for the most part. Right. But you want to instill that, that hard work, that work ethic, that's drive to do something better, not to get everything handed to you. Because if you get everything handed to you, what are you going to work for?
Yeah. And one of the things I tell my son is, we're Joneses. We work hard.
Yeah.
There's a reason you see your mom up at 5 a.m. every single day answering emails, and 8 o'clock at night. And there's nights where dad's not home. It's because we're Joneses. We work hard. Pride. Yeah. I'm a big believer in to test the small things before you can be entrusted with the big things. Do you think working hard and kind of starting the t-shirt company and the sticker company helped you get the confidence to do the bigger things, and I can do this?
Absolutely. For me, as a child growing up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I was a loser. I thought I had no faith in myself. I didn't believe in myself. I believed what everybody else said it was, and it was nothing. My dad was a booster for the football club, and everybody thought that that's the only reason that I was a 4-year varsity letterman.
Yeah.
I was the smallest guy on the football team. I got duct taped to the roof of the boys' locker room multiple times and had every inch of life beaten out of me at the back gate multiple times leaving school, at this private school that I went to. And I wasn't cool, at least what I thought was cool, because our initial vision of cool is definitely not cool. I wasn't cool until I was in basic training in the Army. I joined late and I was the only kid that could afford alcohol. Well, not afford, I should say. I was the only kid that could buy alcohol. I was older than everybody else, So then I was cool for what I could do for people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the story of my childhood as well. My parents, when I was a freshman in high school, my dad's company finally made it. We bought a nice house and my dad was very quiet about everything, very frugal. He wore the same pair of Levi's and the button-up shirt every day. His whole life, same pair of cowboy boots. My parents were very frugal people. And all the kids in school started to find out that we had means, so I was the cool kid that had a pool. I was the cool kid whose liquor cabinet was full. I was the cool kid that had a fun car. So it was all about what I could do for people. And for many, many years, I wanted to impress those people who looked at me as a service.
Mm.
And still at this point, not believing in myself. And then, yes, when we started the t-shirt company and we did that initial order that we were talking about earlier, and we sold thousands of more units than we had anticipated selling, I was blown away by how many people believed in me, and I hadn't even believed in myself yet.
Wow. Right.
So to have that laid out for me on the table, that was a clear indicator of what I needed to do in the path that I needed to take. That was the biggest sign that I could have ever been given. And I had been asking for signs, believe me.
Yeah.
I had been asking for signs, what I do relies solely on people's disposable income. They don't need to purchase the services that I offer. They don't need to spend their money with me. I solely rely on making money off of people who could take that money and throw it in the trash and not care about it. So that is a very tricky industry to be in. And at the end of the day, just like with you guys and any other business, good customer service trumps all.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
And if I can adhere to my customers' needs and meet their timelines, all while keeping my sanity and making the business run like a well-oiled machine, I'll never lose. And I won't, because I will not let my father know.
Okay.
So yes, starting the t-shirt company gave me the push that I need to invest the money in myself and believe in myself and take the leap. Absolutely.
I love Bryan's motto, anthem, heroic hospitality.
Yeah.
Tell me how you came up with that.
No, Matt, first of all, I agree. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
And thank you for your military service. And I think your story is so similar to so many people who just want the approval. They want that attaboy from their dad. So I just think that's going to help a lot of people, man.
Mm-hmm.
And well done. Good job. Way to stick to it, go after it, and realize it.
He's looking down. He's proud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man, my mom and dad are really the unsung heroes of our whole operation. Like the reason we got into the coffee business was because my parents made a decision. They wanted to adopt some kids in the area. So they were about to become empty nesters. And then they heard the story of this little 5-year-old girl who by the age of 5 had been through about 12 different foster homes. And they thought, man, we have the means and the margin and the ability to maybe take this girl into our lives and help flip the script for her, and so they did. They fostered her. They brought in a total stranger into their home, gave her a last name and a forever home, and it changed her life. It changed their life, changed all of our lives, really. And our heart was just that we could get my dad to be able to retire sooner and be more involved and invested in not only her life, but my parents went on to foster 8 kids and adopt 4 of them. So I got 3 sisters and a brother in addition to the blood sister I grew up with. So we called that heroic hospitality, and what my parents showed those kids, those strangers that became family, and so with that same mentality, when we opened this coffee shop, when the open signs go on, we're hosting a party and everybody in the city's invited. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you're into. We just can't wait to serve you and love you and make you feel seen and important.
Every time I walk in there, everybody's smiling.
That's the hope. That's the hope.
There's nothing better than feeling like Norm from Cheers.
Well, it's not when you walk into a Denny's and it's like, what do you want?
It's very apparent everywhere you go. And so I think even all the more reason, I'm writing a book called Heroic Hospitality. It's outlined. I just need to fill in all the content and the stories, but I hope that I can use that in the future to inspire, to teach, to train, equip anybody and everybody in the in any industry, really, because this concept and this heart of heroic hospitality it's for employers towards their employees. It's for, and everything trickles down. It's like the service that customers experience from your employees is an extension of what, and how you treat them and how you have equipped them or how you've trained and invested in them, so that's the hope, is that goes forth. And I hope that someday we can, instead of seeing so many negative reviews show up online, I'd love to see us go, man, I saw heroic hospitality in the way your plumbing company, in the gentleman or the gal who came and served us, wow, I saw that. Like, and if we can call that out and see that happen more in whatever industry, I think it honestly, no cheese ball here, but I think it'll change the world. It will.
Positivity brings positivity.
No, for sure.
For sure. I mean, I see it all the time. I'm talking to my kids in business, everything. Like, I have to self-look at that to myself when I'm being grumpy. Like, I walk my grumpy, I'm going to affect everybody in the room. So when I try to put on this, I'm a positive. Everybody has a bad day. It's okay to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Right. Like, wash it off. Like you said, your 24 hours of pity party.
Yeah.
And get rid of it. Yeah. And it's like, so I've watched that with you, and like everybody also said about the servant leadership. I don't know if you said it or I got it from a conversation we had. Because that's what the big thing is. Like, you help your employees become the better person and move on to whatever they want to move on to, or what really invest in your people to move on with what the dream is. Maybe the dream isn't always coffee.
No, for sure. And we know that we're a stepping stone for so many people. In fact, I'm starting to shift my whole focus of what we're building. And I had a great conversation with the guy who handles, a dear friend of mine, Bryson Foster. He handles all of our marketing and social media. And we were chatting. He goes, bro, you're a training company. And then coffee's the tool that you use to train people and help them, maybe realize their full potential, or their communication skills or their ability to connect and relate with people. And that's given me this fresh fire to go, okay, years ago, prior to COVID, we launched Anthem Coffee School, which was rad. People would fly in from all over the US and they would spend kind of 3 days with us doing a deep dive, similar to your wood fire pizza class. We would do this coffee deep dive, teach people how to build successful coffee houses. And so then we abandoned that after COVID and made the pivots we had to make to survive. But man, I think there's nothing better than to be able to give. And when you give, you get. Of course, we don't give to get, but that's just what happens.
Yeah. It's fun whenever we do our orientation. I said, my goal here is my biggest thing is being late. Can't stand being late, right? And I'm like, if I can teach you one thing, punctuality, be on time. So when you, Susie, go on to be a nurse and your boss says to you 2 years from now, Susie, I can't appreciate how you are always on time. That means so much to me. And in the back of your mind, you say, thank you, fatty. That is the best thing.
So my industry is a little bit different because most people are there. That's their final
trade. Yeah.
They're a trade, right?
Yeah.
But I've had guys leave, and I had a guy leave and started my plumbing company and took a lot of what I taught and we learned with me and his marketing and all this stuff he does in the community and does the same thing now with this company. And my wife's like, oh, you just blah, blah. I'm like, it's honestly, it's kind of like attaboy, it's I don't know what the right word is. I want to have a business plan and I'll put it out there for the world to use. And if they use what I'm doing to make the world, it'll make the world a better place. If you really want to do, like I said, the thing I hear about the trades, we're talking about hospitality and other stuff is answering the phone. So it's you hear all the time is, you can't, people answer the phones or in the trades, no, I can't get no one to answer the phone. And so we answer. And if I can't help you, I'll give you to someone else, another company that can, at least I can trust, Yeah. And so to try to help that person in the community, whether I can't help them or not personally, it's just for me, my goal is to answer the phone and give them to someone else or help them. Because usually when they call me, they have a really bad day. So it's a little bit different. My office is dealing with someone having a bad day. So to answer the phone and say, I'm here for you. I'm here to help. What can I do to help you? And so it's nice to have that, to be able to, be, the hospitality of it, So I grew up, my parents had a restaurant. So I grew up in a restaurant. I grew up cooking at a young age, full-time job at 13, but the family aspect and building up your team. I just remember the fondest memories I have with my parents and my childhood was we go out to American Lake on Sundays and this piece of crap boat that's the $2,000 or something that barely ran. But everybody from the company went to the lake at some point in the day and brought something and potluck style. And still to this day, I've run into people. We had a 20-year reunion barbecue thing a couple years back, and I ran into people that worked for my parents, and I said, if your parents were a restaurant now, we would quit our job to come back.
Wow.
Because of they treated my stepdad used to go, pick people up with a snow. He'd go pick up every employee and drive them to work. So that way they didn't have to put themselves at risk driving to work.
That's heroic hospitality.
Right? Like, and you didn't have to.
Sheesh.
Don't have to do that.
Right.
He would do it. Like, no, I want you to be safe.
Wow.
I'll pick you up, bring you to work. So that way you don't have to worry about wrecking your car. You don't have to be stressed out about driving the snow.
Yeah.
And not to say anything about women driving. It's just there was primarily women, right? So he wanted them to be safe. He's a man. He's trying to help the women. It's just kind of the man role. That's the role model I grew up with, was this man that wanted to treat women the right way.
Protectors.
Protect, right? And it's not that hard for you to go above and beyond in your business.
However, nowadays that's not the norm anymore. I can't tell you if I go out for a meal anywhere, unfortunately, because of how things are now in our world, I'm expecting the service to be mediocre.
And it sucks, dude. It sucks. You go through a drive-through, and you get, here's your stuff, and they throw out the window. They say, have a good day, and nothing. Like, oh, at least a good day.
Yeah.
How are you? Like, I did. And, I asked people, how's your day going? I really want to know, how's your day going? Oh, it's fine. Like, oh, was it fine? Like, I asked you, like, what was just fine? And they're like, what? You should listen. It's like, yes, I want to know. Well, how hard is it for you to say, when you're waiting for your coffee, just chat them up a little bit?
There's a such thing as a helper's high, similar to a runner's high. Okay. Yeah. I don't run, but I have run in the past. And when I run, you feel really good. In the same way, when you help someone, when you serve someone, when you engage with their life and you take all the focus off of you and you put it on those that are in front of you. Oh, you're buzzing. You're buzzing. You got problems, check them at the door. I'm not talking about faking it to make it. I'm talking about, plug in, clock in, put your baggage down, whatever it is you're carrying, and lock in and care about other people that are around you.
You want to spread that motivation. You want to spread that hunger, that thirst, that drive to be the better you.
Us all being business owners and like the faces of our company, when you walk through those doors, you have to have a positive attitude and upbeat tempo. I can't walk in and like I used to and throw things or be angry or why this out of place. You're setting the tone, right? You're setting the tone of how your staff is going to feel and the temperature of the piece and everything. So that's important too, So whatever I'm having before that, whether it was a bad phone call, as soon as I walk through those doors, hey, how's it going? How are you guys doing? What's going on? So making sure you're setting the temperature, I think is important.
Yeah, I definitely noticed when I bring the tone down. I talked about walking the office, and I noticed why I do it because my wife and I work together. Yeah, and it's a hard dynamic because we'll argue about something. Yes, argue at home about something I did or whatever. It's usually something I did myself. Yeah, and it's just you can see that feed right back in the office dynamic. And everybody's kind of like, oh, what's he going to do? Because I used to blow up. So my new office is next door to my old office. We use it as a warehouse now. And you go down the holes in the walls and stuff from like throwing me the stone, throwing stuff. I'm not proud of it, but it's like I stopped that now. I don't throw fits like that anymore. And usually it's, the alcohol related stuff, and now I'm sober, so I have a little bit calmer mind, but I get that rage every once in a while. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Right. Like it's not that bad, But the name, The Moment Rediscovered, is just about touching on that point in your life, in your business, that made you change and pivot to be this monumental person or a pillar in your community or a pillar in your business and be that beacon of hope and help to all your people, right? It's like, what changed in your life to make you go from in a trailer or doing heroin, or for me, being a drunken piece of shit at the bar every day and like skipping out on my kids and not doing what I was supposed to be doing? To change that, what's that one moment that we'll revisit that one moment that changed your trajectory, and you go be what you are,
I'd say for me, mine's very easy. I always had, I've always had big dreams. I always had big aspirations, but when I went through my divorce, 2018, 2019, the pivotal moment for me was, the biggest meltdown I've ever had in my life, and holding one of my pistols to my temple alone in my house, just ready to give up and say peace out to it all. And I remembered my dad telling me a similar story, and I didn't want to call him and reach out to him and let him know what I was going through. I knew I could figure it out. That night, my life changed. And the next morning I got up and I went to the gym 2 times a day for 2 years straight. And I got my mind right and I got my body right. And we started the t-shirt company, and it all just started growing exponentially faster than I'd ever imagined. And I realized that I wasn't done getting everything that I deserved out of my life. And it was time for me to get it.
The culture would say, you got to make it work yourself. But I think being able to be authentic and vulnerable and to share with somebody where you're at, like, we need each other, man.
You're not alone.
No, for real, man. For me, the moment was just recognizing opportunity. If I think back, my parents had always been so supportive, championing me. I played select baseball growing up, and they would just create opportunities all over the place for me to get scouted and maybe make it professional someday in baseball. All 5'10" of me. Now I could hit the ball very far when I connected with it. But so they would champion that, and then their vote of confidence in me, I think, to lead this coffee business, having no, prior experience even as a family. Like, we'd never taken risks. We'd never done anything that wasn't really safe. Like, we played it safe our whole lives, and until my parents decided to take the risk and adopt. And in doing so, I think it unlocked this whole new world of, man, if we could do that and we can do a business, like, what else can we do?
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the moment for me was just, went a few years being homeless and addicted to heroin, and got my life turned around and met an amazing wife and had a great support system. There's always something deep down inside me that was like, I wanted to be more and try more and take a leap of faith. My dad owned a logging and tree service company, so kind of grew up with that entrepreneurial business and saw him make mistakes along the way. But I always wanted, I started mowing lawns at a young age and working for myself and kind of hustling on the side, doing the things that we did. But when I got clean and sober and started to get in this environment of seeing people like Bryan and these young entrepreneurs, it fanned that flame for me. Like, I want to give this a shot. And again, if I fail, well, at least I tried it. And I can say that I looked back and gave Fat Zaps a try. And even if we go bankrupt 5 years from now or whatever, knock on wood that doesn't happen, but at least I did it and I tried. So I just think the moment was just, I was tired of being unhappy and wanted to at least give it a try and say, fuck it. Excuse me, but I just wanted to do it and try it and go from there.
I've had a couple pretty good moments in my life, but mine was, getting sober for the first time. So, or truly sober, actually working on myself and actually going to AA and working on what deep down inside made me that crazy alcoholic person,
Yeah.
So I, about 9 months, I looked up on my phone, but 304 days ago, I was in that room right there on my floor. I had been drinking for about 10 days straight with no food and should have been in the hospital. I probably should have died, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd lost $219,000 in some change error through my bank, but the money came back eventually. But in order to get that money back, they wanted to give it to the partner that I had at the time that stole from me. And that's why he was no longer my partner.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted me to give access to what my business had. So I racked up every single credit card, maxed every single thing out. Didn't tell any one of my employees that wanted to leave, thinking that things were bad. I'm still fixing that today with all of the bills that I racked up to save that money. I got the money back, but all the interest rates, that all the things I did that saved the company,
yeah,
I'm still dealing with it, and just trying to fight and had to really dig deep and I need to get sober. Watching my kids and my wife walk past about a transient on the ground. I was sitting there for I said almost a week, I think. I don't remember how long it was. I remember I was just drunk the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm driving the bar down the street and getting a drink and just shaking and trying to stop shaking, drink off the table and stuff, and just it was bad, man. And then try to really made it snap something in my brain I need to stop.
Yeah.
And then getting that, for the first little bit, it's hard. I'm still dealing with stuff now, but it's just being that man, being strong, dig deep, dig hard, dig in and go. And it's time to be successful and keep it going,
Sometimes hitting rock bottom is the best thing for you.
Yeah. And there's bumps in the road. I've been highs and lows and, 35, 40 employees and then I'm down to 10. Who cares, man? I used to be super upset, oh my gosh, it's not going to work. I'm a failure. Who cares, dude? Like you said, the whole baseball analogy, you fail 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you fail doesn't mean you're a failure.
So sweet, man. Well, I really appreciate you guys being here today.
Thanks for having us.